He was summoned as the weakest hero, so he was abandoned by the kingdom, but he discovers he actually has the most overpowered cheat ability. The story begins as we see some demi-humans being told to work faster, but a merchant named Banaza thanks them for their work and offers them money so that they can have a nice meal. But the worker tries to decline, reminding him that they're demi-humans, but he doesn't think it makes a difference, so they thank him for his kindness. The other merchants find him weird for giving money to the demi-humans, and he wonders why they care so much about race. His assistant Quen understands him, but tells him that few people think like him, but he suddenly feels something, and his body starts to glow. He suddenly disappears, and he's teleported to another world, while the others comment that the summoning of the hero candidate is successful. But Banaza wonders what's happening, thinking there must be a mistake, because he's just a merchant. The cardinal explains that they summon potential heroes to help in the battle against the Dark Army, and they bring an orb to test his abilities, as the cardinal explains that the candidates receive divine abilities that can't be acquired through training. He places his hand on the orb, and it begins to glow, but they discover that he has the stats of an ordinary man, thinking their summoning must have failed. He explains that he isn't a hero, and asks them to send him back to his world. But another candidate attracts everyone's attention, because his stats are maxed out, so everyone goes to talk to him, and leaves Banaza alone. The king is impressed with the candidate, and appoints him as their new hero, while Banaza wonders why nobody is listening to him. We see him getting into a carriage, as he remembers his encounter with the king, who told him that the gate he used is closed, so he's stuck in this world. They admit that this is because of their mistake, so they will allow him to live in the forest to the north, but he isn't allowed to tell others about this blunder. As they make their way to the forest, Banaza tries to talk to the demi-human driving the carriage, asking him if he's a slave of the king, but he explains that there's no such thing in this world, saying there's no difference between humans and demi-humans. Banaza asks about the place they're going, but he closes the window, and they continue traveling. After 20 days, they arrive in the forest, and the lizard gives Banaza a magical bag, saying it's a gift from the king, and it should contain everything he needs to survive for a few days. But the lizard advises him not to stay there, because there are rumors that the Dark Army is camped in the forest. Banaza bids farewell to the lizard, and he checks his bag, pulling out a sword, but he realizes that there's nothing special about it. 3 slimes suddenly appear from the forest, and they attack him, so he takes them out, but he notes that his sword is already broken. The system suddenly shows him that he leveled up, and all his stats are replaced with the infinity symbol, but Banaza has never seen it before, so he wonders what it means. He realizes he received the ability to talk to the system, so he activates it, and it becomes his guide, showing him the spells he acquired. It shows him that his bag is under a monster luring spell, so he realizes why the slimes appeared after he used it, and thinks the king wants to get rid of him. The system manages to remove the spell, and he decides to find a place to stay. But the system warns him that the forest is contaminated with melicium, the substance that demons expel which is harmful to humans. It gives him the option to purify the forest using 1/3 of his mana, so he agrees to this, and a huge magic circle suddenly appears, as the forest begins to be purified. Banaza wonders what has changed, and the system informs him that he leveled up multiple times. Meanwhile, the princess scolds the king for not treating Banaza properly, reminding him about the rumors of the Dark Army having a camp near the forest. But he doesn't care about Banaza, since he couldn't become their hero. A cleric suddenly arrives, and reveals that there are signs that the highest sacred magic was used. The king believes their hero used the purification spell, and thinks he's one of the greatest in history. But the cleric explains that he's in the south, and the purification happened at the Dalava forest in the north. In the forest, Banaza discovers he's at level 367, but he's surprised that he reached that level without killing any monsters, so he thinks experience can also be gained by practicing magic. He wonders why the strange symbol hasn't changed, and asks the system to show his mana, but it's completely restored in a matter of seconds, so he thinks it must be really low. He wonders how he can survive, since he was banished from the city, so the system recommends using a transformation spell. He thinks it's a great idea, so he agrees to this, but he transforms into a hot girl. He looks closely, but decides to take it seriously, so he transforms into a man, and the system explains that he can use teleportation magic, so he teleports back to the kingdom. Banaza is happy to have this magic and wonders if it's common in this world. He tries to teleport to his old world, but nothing happens, so he decides to make some money. He arrives at an adventurer's guild to look for missions, so the attendant explains the registration rules. She asks for his name, but he hides his identity and introduces himself as Theo. She gives him a rank badge and advises him to keep it with him. Theo checks the board to find a mission for his rank, but notices a girl looking for an escort to the Dalava forest. She offers money, but none of the adventurers want to accept the job because of the rumors that the forest is full of demons, but Theo agrees to take her there. So she asks him if he's sure, but Theo explains that he can use his teleportation spell to send her to the forest. But everyone is shocked to hear this, and they can't believe he can use that spell, so he realizes that it's not a spell for beginners. A knight named Balarosa appears, asking him to stay away from the girl. We see that she has friends, and they don't think Theo looks like an experienced wizard, so they think he's a creep. He thinks he's in trouble, but assures that he's not lying, and suggests showing the spell. They go outside, and Theo uses his teleportation spell, transporting them to the Dalava forest. The girls are shocked, and the witch Bolano asks if he's a high-order wizard to teleport so far, but he assures her that he's just an apprentice, and Balarosa apologizes for not believing him. The girl notices something strange, and reveals that the Milicium in the forest disappeared. Theo decides to tell her that he purified the forest, but the system warns him not to share information with demons. The girls suddenly draw their weapons, and surround the girl, as Balarosa reveals that she's a demon who's using a spell to hide her true form, and they came to the guild to watch her. The girl smiles, and she transforms into her demonic form, revealing that her name is Fenris, and she's the younger sister of Fengaril, one of the four infernals. Everyone is shocked, and Balarosa can't believe she's a wolf demon, realizing they can't deal with her. Fenris explains that her brother sent her to observe the enemy, and she expels her Milicium, so everyone falls to the ground, but it has no effect on Theo. So Fenris is surprised, and she tries to devour them, but he dodges, and sends the others back with his teleportation. She asks him why he didn't retreat with them, threatening to eat him, but he refuses to die, knowing he still hasn't done anything in this world. Theo prepares to fight, as he decides to use all of his spells to defeat her. She charges at him, but he uses an earth wall to defend himself, and he traps her in a whirlwind, but she uses magic to escape. She attacks again, but he uses a gravitational spell, which completely immobilizes her, and the system recommends using a subjugation spell to enslave her. But Theo refuses to do it because he doesn't want her to be his slave. Fenris uses all her mana to escape, but the gravitational spell negates her magic, so she has no choice but to surrender. She believes that a fallen warrior has no place in this world, so she tells him to end her life, but he explains that he doesn't want to kill her. She reminds him that she's a demon, and she's a natural enemy of humans, but he doesn't care, saying it means nothing, as he explains that he has no desire to kill someone who has already surrendered. Fenris can't believe what she's hearing, saying he's naive, before transforming back into her human form, but he realizes she's naked, so he covers her with his cloak. He searches for clothes in his bag, but she faints from exhaustion. At night, Theo checks his list of spells, wondering why he can use high-level magic. Fenris wakes up, realizing that she couldn't do anything against Theo, and that her mana is restored. She greets him, and thanks him for sparing her life, knowing she would have died if she fought someone else. So she promises never to attack humans, and recognizes him as her master. He explains that he doesn't need a slave, so she's free to go wherever she wants, but she insists, trying to convince him to accept her. But he still says no, so she threatens to take her own life, but he quickly changes his mind, allowing her to travel with him, and she's overjoyed to hear this. After a while, Theo shares that he's not from this world, saying he was brought here as a hero candidate. He also shows his true appearance, explaining that he's hiding from the king, so he thinks he might make her life more difficult. But Fenris still vows to travel with him, and asks to stay by his side, explaining that wolves always follow their masters, and she immediately hugs him. Meanwhile, the king asks the hero about the battle with the Dark Army, wondering how his knights were defeated. But the hero explains that they were weak, saying they broke formation after seeing a demonic beast, so the king should be grateful that he saved their lives. but the king asks a knight about his performance in the battle, so the knight explains that he actually positioned himself behind the army and ran away as they fought the demons, so the king becomes frustrated. The hero checks his stats, trying to understand why he trained for a whole month, but it hasn't improved at all. He believes that he can only defeat weak magical beasts, since he hasn't gained a skill yet. His servant Suya reports for her duties, so the hero thinks she came at a good time and takes her to his room. The next day, Theo and Fenris go to the city, planning to register at the Adventurers Guild, when a merchant calls them a couple. So Theo considers the idea, thinking they'll be able to travel without looking suspicious, and Fenris agrees to this, saying she wants to be his wife. He explains that they're just pretending to be a couple, but she doesn't care, because she just wants to be with him. They enter the Adventurers Guild, where the guild attendant asks Fenris about her name. She almost reveals her true identity, but Theo interrupts her and registers her under the name Riss. Theo asks her to be careful so people don't find out, and she apologizes for being reckless. The guild attendant announces that an urgent mission has arisen, and they need to defeat a herd of psychotic bears in the north. She explains that the reward will be 10 times larger than usual, but everyone hesitates because the psychotic bears were able to defeat the hero's army. Theo also wants to refuse, but Riss asks him to accept it, claiming she can handle the bears alone. They teleport away, and Riss is excited to hunt, but they hear a scream and discover that the girls he saved before are surrounded by the bears. Riss wants to ignore them since they're weak, but the girls are no match for the bears, so Theo casts a lightning spell, which eliminates most of them. The last one tries to kill Bolano, but Riss takes it down, and they realize that Theo saved their lives again. They're happy that he's okay, but they ask him about Riss, so he introduces her as his travel companion, so she becomes depressed, because she wanted him to introduce her as his wife. A bear suddenly emerges behind her, but she glares at him, and he becomes so scared that he collapses. He begs for his life, so she decides to make him her pet, but the girls are shocked, as Riss explains that this will further increase Theo's reputation. He doesn't seem to mind, so he activates a restraint spell and transforms the bear into a cute creature. They name him Saib, and Balarosa can't believe they just tamed a bear. Moments later, the girls formally introduce themselves, and we learn that Baleri is the archer, Blossom is a heavy knight, and Bolano is the group's sorceress. Balarosa asks Theo to train them so they can fight alongside the hero, telling him about the hero's army, which was decimated by a horde of psychotic bears. She explains that after the incident, the hero locked himself up and refused to fight until he found someone worthy to be his right hand, so the king ordered everyone to level up until they can defeat a bear alone. She begs for help, but Riss exudes a dark aura as she gets jealous of them. Theo senses her anger, so he explains that she's actually his wife, and this immediately makes her happy, saying he should teach the girls how to fight. The girls thank them, but they ask for another favor, wondering if he would let them sleep at the house, because it's too dangerous to camp outside. Riss thinks it's okay, since the house was provided by the guild for the mission, saying she will sleep beside Theo because they're married. Meanwhile, the demon Eulimenes reports to the demon lord, saying the purification spell was cast by just one person. So he wonders who could be capable of doing this, and orders her to capture him immediately. The next day, Theo wakes up, and he's surprised to see Riss in front of him, but she reminds him that they're now married. He remembers that the previous night, Riss was ready to formalize their marriage and devote her body to him, but he rejected her, thinking it was too soon for them to do it. So he decided to sleep in the hallway, but Riss warned him that the others might suspect their relationship. Riss wants to help him change his clothes, but Balarosa suddenly enters the room to remind him of the training, thinking she's interrupting them, so she immediately leaves. They start the training by facing a giant boar, but Balarosa starts running away, and Blossom attacks, but she misses, so Bolano protects her with a barrier. Baleri launches an arrow, but it doesn't do anything, and Bolano starts feeling sick after using too much mana. The giant boar starts chasing them, and Theo realizes they have a long way to go. After the training, they go to their new home, and the girls thank Theo for allowing them to stay. He explains that he was able to buy the house at a discount after defeating the psychotic bears. Riss arrives, telling them that the food is ready, but Theo is shocked to see raw meat. She prepared it as a celebration for the new house, but he explains that humans prefer cooked meat. so he and Balarosa decide to prepare the meal, and Riss is confused, but Saib thinks the meat is great. The group thanks Fio for preparing the food, but he explains that he had help from Balarosa, so she blushes, thinking she's better in the kitchen than with a sword. They realize it's delicious, but Riss still can't believe this food can be tasty. Fio explains that he made the salad, so she decides to try it as his wife, and discovers it has a great flavor. He suggests trying the meat, and Riss can't believe how crunchy and juicy it is, and wonders how grilled meat can be so good, while Fio thanks Balarosa for cooking the meat for her. They go to the guild to sell the giant boars, and Fio notices that everyone's staring at them, wondering if he overdid it. Riss asks permission to go to the city alone, while he waits for their goods to be evaluated. He asks her if she needs help, but she explains that she doesn't, saying she just needs to deal with personal matters. The head of the guild, Lilith, asks to talk to Fio in his office, while Riss stays and looks at the cooking poster. Lilith reveals that his fame has spread throughout the city, so Fio realizes that he really overdid it. Lilith explains that he received a request from the king to hire him as a knight and work under the hero, who is gathering powerful individuals to fight against the darkness. He admits that as the guild owner, he doesn't want to see Fio leave, but thinks he's important for saving the world. He thinks of Riss for a moment, realizing he has no reason to fight, because he came from another world, so he refuses the offer. He leaves the guild, but he sees Riss in terrible shape, so he thinks it must be the work of a magical beast, but Riss just smiles at him, realizing that cooking is harder than she thought. We learn that she's taking a cooking course to impress him, but the first date didn't go well, because she messed up all the recipes, and blew up the kitchen, but she's determined to win his love by cooking. Meanwhile, the hero learns about Fio and Riss, as Suya explains that they're hunting magical beasts, so the hero asks to bring them to him. A royal messenger arrives for Fio, but he denies the proposal from the castle, and Riss is annoyed with their persistence. Fio thanks Blossom for taking care of the garden, and they continue their daily training. Riss thinks Valeri should shoot three-eyed birds instead of wooden targets, but she hesitates because she doesn't want to kill a cute bird. Fio gives Bolano a magic ring to amplify her magical powers, so she gets surprised by the gift and tries to put it on her ring finger, but Riss appears out of nowhere and threatens to kill her if she does that. Balarosa is attacked by a giant insect and screams for Fio's help, but Riss cuts it in half and tells Balarosa to stop pretending to be helpless to get Fio's attention. Riss prepares a meal for everyone, and they can't believe it's so tasty. She admits that she's been taking cooking classes, but she never imagined it would be so much fun. So she serves a curry to Fio, and is delighted that he loves it, as she remembers her teacher mentioning that the strong seasoning shows the intensity of her love. They enjoy the food, but Eulimenes is spying on them, and she can't believe that Fenris is with a human. But Fenris suddenly appears behind her, and she brings Eulimenes to Fio, who welcomes her with hot tea. Eulimenes observes Riss's behavior, and can't believe that the almighty Fenris is being controlled by an ordinary man. Riss explains that she's now married to him, but Eulimenes can't believe it, and tries to measure Fio's powers with her appraisal, but realizes she can't read his stats. She notes that this has never happened before, and we learn that even the Demon Lord can't hide his stats from her. She asks Fio about the forest, since she found no magical beasts, but he explains that he used a purification spell, so she realizes he's the one she's looking for. She reveals that because of this spell, Riss's brother was killed along with his men, but Fio can't believe he's responsible for the death of Riss's brother. But Riss already knew about this, saying Fio is one of the few humans capable of using purification magic, but she thinks it's her brother's fault for not being strong enough, and explains her feelings haven't changed, so she'll dedicate her life to him. They suddenly notice the girls at the door, and we learn that they listened to the whole conversation, so they realize that Riss is the wolf that tried to kill them. Fio is worried, and Eulimenes thinks he's a threat, so she challenges him to a fight, wanting to gather all information about his powers, but Riss thinks she's trying to steal her husband. They decide to fight outside, and Eulimenes quickly launches a poison spell to distract him, while casting another one on the ground. But he easily dispels her magic, and traps her with his crucifixion spell, forcing her to surrender. The next day, Eulimenes returns to the Dark Castle, and Fio tells the girls about Riss, assuring them that she has changed, so she won't attack humans. They acknowledge that Riss has been helping them for the past month, and she has become their benefactor, so they don't want to harm her by telling the king. Eulimenes returns with an army of dragons, and the girls are terrified, so she asks them to surrender, but Theo is amazed seeing dragons for the first time. So she becomes annoyed, ordering the dragons to attack, but Theo casts a celestial spell called Divine Hammer, which eliminates several dragons in an instant. She thinks this is impossible, and flees along with the remaining dragons. Blossom thinks Theo is incredible, and regrets not taking the opportunity to attack the dragon, because she could have earned the title of Dragon Slayer. But Theo tells her to try, advising her to throw her weapon at them, so she follows his instruction, and he uses his enhancement magic to strengthen it, killing a dragon in one hit. Her level increases, and she can't believe she has earned the title of Dragon Slayer. The other girls also want the title, but Theo explains that the dragons have already fled, so they realize it's too late. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord watches everything, and he looks forward to meeting Theo, telling his men that it's time to make their next move. Theo creates a barrier around the house, and he reveals that it will alert them when a demon enters the area. Riss thinks about Eulimenes, saying Theo is too lenient because he didn't do anything to punish her after she attacked them. But he explains that he wasn't trying to be nice, and we learn that he still can't get over the fact that he killed Riss's brother. We see the girls looking at Blossom's stats, and they think the title of Dragon Slayer sounds cool, but Balarosa walks away, saying she needs to hunt magical beasts to get stronger. So they think she's amazing, because she never stops training, but we see that she's actually crying, because she wanted to have that title. She reveals that Dragon Slayer is a coveted title for adventurers, and it allows commoners to become nobles. So she regrets not taking the opportunity, because she could have improved her family's life by acquiring the title. A wanderer suddenly approaches her, saying he's looking for Riss, but Balarosa finds him suspicious, so she threatens to kill him, knowing he's from the Dark Army. She asks him why he's looking for Riss, so he explains that he just wants to see her, and he decides to leave, but he mentions that he will return to talk to her. Balarosa tells him to identify himself, so he reveals that his name is Gozel, and she thinks he's weird. Moments later, Theo approaches her, so she tells him about Gozel, but Riss recognizes him, revealing that his real name is Gaul. Theo reveals that the barrier detected him, and it mentioned that he's the Demon Lord, so Balarosa freaks out, realizing that he could have killed her if he wanted to. The next day, Gaul arrives to visit Riss, and Theo introduces himself, as he welcomes Gaul into the house. They have tea together, and Gaul explains that he knows what happened to Eulimenes, but Balarosa can't believe she's sitting beside him. Riss asks him if he wants to get revenge, but he says he isn't interested, and he asks Theo if he wants to join the Dark Army, but he immediately refuses. Gaul tells him he has incredible power, wondering why he isn't working with the king. So he explains that he isn't interested in joining the war, and he has no idea why they're fighting, revealing that he's from another world. So Gaul reveals that the first Demon Lord started the war, because he wanted to conquer the world, so the humans tried to stop him. But the conflict dragged on for 5 centuries, and Gaul isn't interested in ruling the world, so he wants to put an end to it. But he suddenly exudes his aura, seeing Theo as a threat to the demons, but he maintains his composure, saying he won't be participating in the war. So Gaul realizes he's stubborn, thinking this is the reason why the king couldn't get him to join the humans. But Gaul wants to recruit him into the Dark Army, so he mentions that he will return, and he finds Balarosa interesting, because she didn't freak out while she was beside him. But after he leaves, the girls check on her, and they realize that she's spaced out. She ends up losing consciousness, and after she wakes up, she sees Gaul in the house, and he mentions that Riss's cooking is delicious, but she tells him to go home, because Theo will never join the Dark Army. He invites Balarosa to join them, but she declines, and he thinks it's because she's shy. Balarosa tries to avoid Gaul, but he tells her he wants to speak with her, so she runs away, saying she needs to train. Gaul keeps visiting the house, and a knight sees him, so he reports this to the king, who thinks Theo has joined the Dark Army, so he becomes upset, thinking Theo needs to be eliminated. But the princess advises him to reconsider, because they aren't sure if Theo is working with the Demon Lord. So she suggests talking to him, thinking they should listen to what he wants, but the king thinks she's naive, and the hero arrives, saying he's going to deal with Theo. At the Demon Lord's castle, Luminous advises Gaul to focus on his duties, but he explains that he's trying to recruit Theo, and he decides to leave anyway. But she reveals that the demons aren't happy with his behavior, and they're starting to question his motives. We return to Theo, as he thinks about selling gears to make profit, knowing they need money to survive. Riss asks him why he didn't join the hero, knowing he could make a fortune by fighting the demons, but he explains that he doesn't want to fight anyone because he knows his powers are dangerous. But Valeri suddenly warns him that they're surrounded, and he realizes that the hero has arrived with a legion of knights. He accuses Theo of working with the Dark Army, and he threatens to kill Theo if he refuses to fight for the kingdom. The hero thinks Theo has no choice but to join him, thinking he's destined to become the greatest hero in the world, but Theo explains that he doesn't want to participate in the war. So the hero is shocked, and he calls Theo a traitor, but the girls defend him, saying he's a good man, but the hero thinks they're also traitors, so he threatens to arrest all of them for treason. Theo realizes that he has no choice but to leave, and the girls want to join him, because they're starting to question everything they learned in the kingdom. They think the hero is despicable, because he's threatening to kill innocent people, and they realize that the demons aren't evil, so they aren't interested in participating in the war. Theo uses his teleportation spell, causing a massive circle to appear, and the hero can't believe that Theo is using magic that he can't use. A pillar of light surrounds them, as Theo is teleported away with his friends, and the knights can't believe that he was able to take the house and fields with him. But Gaul suddenly arrives, realizing that the house is gone, and he blames the humans, thinking they got rid of Theo, so he becomes enraged, threatening to kill everyone. He orders the Dark Army to attack the kingdom, and Luminous is excited, ordering the demons to prepare for battle. A dark cloud appears, but the hero is afraid, so he runs away, and the knights can't believe he's leaving them behind. Theo and his friends are teleported to a forest, and he explains that they're close to a town, which he once visited to sell dragon materials. The girls think they should be safe there, and Ballarosa is happy they won't see Gaul again. But Theo apologizes for causing trouble, so Riss tells him not to blame himself, saying she will join him wherever he goes, because he's her husband, and the girls also agree to stay together. The Dark Army begins its invasion, setting villages on fire, and the humans try to stop them at the northern stronghold. A knight reports to the king, telling him that the Dark Army is about to break through the stronghold, so the king wonders why the hero isn't doing anything. But the knight tells him that the hero is hiding in the south, so the king orders the knight to look for him. The king's advisors suggest gathering all the mages to cast purification magic, but he hesitates, knowing it's a risky move. So they tell him that he needs to act fast, because it's all over for them once the demons break through the stronghold. We see Gaul observing the battle, as his servant Gretel tells him the time has come, so he decides to retreat, knowing the humans are going to use a purification spell. The king leads the mages, as they start chanting, and a pillar of light appears, as a massive sigil covers the kingdom. Theo returns from his trip to the town, and he tells everyone that he was looking around the stores, because he's planning to make money by selling gear. Blossom wants to help him by selling vegetables, and Valeri considers breeding horses, so that she can have them rented out. Blossom explains that Valeri used to look after the horses in the castle, so she's used to handling them, and she promises to do her best to support the household. Bolano and Ballarosa feel useless, because they can't think of anything to make money. But Riss promises to take care of them, and Theo tells them to help in the housework, saying they can focus on getting stronger during their free time. We return to the castle, as the king's advisors report that the Dark Army has retreated, because the mages were able to cast the purification spell, which will protect the kingdom for 3 months. But the princess realizes they're in terrible shape, because they spent all of their magic to cast the spell. She knows that the king is in no condition to lead the kingdom, so she decides to take over, and she tells the advisors that the hero is useless, so she removes him from his position. But they ask her how she plans to deal with the Dark Army, thinking the kingdom needs a hero to lead them to victory, and the mages can't summon a replacement, so she decides to visit the oracle. We see the hero getting kicked out, as a knight tells him that the princess has given her orders, but he becomes angry, saying the kingdom needs him to protect them from the Dark Army. But the knight ignores him, and leaves him outside. That evening, Theo tells Riss that he's grateful to her, because she's helping him survive, but she falls asleep, and he notes that he wouldn't be living a peaceful life without her. The next day, the girls tell Theo to go on a date with Riss, saying they can take care of everything while he's gone, and he appears to be embarrassed, but Riss is excited for their date. They visit the town together, and Theo asks Riss if she needs anything, because he wants to buy something for her, saying he wants to thank her for staying by his side. They see a piece of jewelry, and he decides to buy it, thinking it looks great on her. They return home, and Theo is about to go to sleep, but Riss hugs him, so he becomes flustered, but he realizes she's talking in her sleep. He gives her space, but she follows him, so he has a hard time falling asleep. At the castle, we see that the hero has broken into the royal treasury, thinking he might find an item that can help him defeat the demon lord. He thinks about Theo, and he becomes jealous because he isn't as powerful as him. But he suddenly hears a girl's voice, and she offers to give him power if he sets her free. A secret passage opens, and he sees a sword, as the voice tells him to take it, saying she will grant his wishes in exchange. He accepts her offer, but he suddenly gets blown away, as a powerful being appears. She introduces herself as Hia, the Majin of primordial light and darkness, and she asks him if he released her from the seal. So he confirms this, and she promises to grant 3 of his wishes. We see the princess as she meets the Oracle Ursula, telling her that the kingdom is in danger, so they need to find something that can save them from the Dark Army. But strange collars suddenly appear around everyone's necks, so they start to panic, and the princess orders her men to go to the royal treasury. Everyone wonders why they're wearing collars, so Ursula explains that they have been chosen as sacrifices, saying the Majin is going to behead them after she grants a wish. The princess reveals that the Majin was once summoned to eliminate the demon lord, but she took countless lives in exchange, so they decided to seal her. But the princess knows that someone broke the seal, thinking they're going to die after the Majin grants the wish, so she asks Ursula to find a solution. She starts her reading, and she tells the princess to find the true hero, saying he has already been summoned, and they can find him by searching the western part of the kingdom. So they know she's talking about Theo, and an advisor tells the princess to rally her soldiers to search the area. But she knows that the kingdom needs the soldiers to protect them, so she decides to find him herself. Theo visits a merchant, who inspects the shield he brought with him, thinking it's amazing, because it was made with dragon scales. The merchant mentions that someone brought dragon meat to the town, and Theo confirms that he did this, saying he has access to top quality products. So the merchant agrees to buy his shield, and he explains that he has other items for sale, saying he has just moved into the town. So he's looking for business partners, and the merchant looks forward to working with him. Balarosa observes him, and she's impressed, because he knows how to do business. Riss knows that he used to be a merchant, thinking he must have been a big player before he was sent to their world. Balarosa admits that she likes him, but she takes it back, because she doesn't want Riss to hate her, so she says she will just find someone like him. Riss thinks Gaul is a capable suitor, saying he likes her, but she's still afraid of him, because she knows he's the demon lord. Theo joins them, saying he was able to sell the shield for a good price, and he thanks Balarosa for telling him about the shop. They decide to head home, and Riss knows Theo is going to be busy, but she tells him she wants to spend more time with him whenever he's free. But at that moment, the system warns Theo that a Majin is approaching, and Hia appears, revealing that the hero's wish is to eliminate Theo. So she attacks him, as the system shields him with a barrier, but Riss gets in the way, and she ends up getting mortally wounded. Hia creates multiple explosions, but Theo's barrier protects him, and she realizes that average magic won't work on him, so she prepares to cast an advanced spell. He tries to heal Riss, but the system tells him that the injury is too severe, so healing magic won't work on her, and he becomes worried, thinking he could lose her. Hia uses a powerful spell, which creates a massive explosion, but it still can't get past Theo's barrier. He recalls the moments he spent with Riss, and we learn that he always wanted to protect her, because he can't imagine living without her. So he becomes angry, and he tells Hia that he will never forgive her, as the system tells him that he has learned her abilities. He casts a time reversal spell, which allows him to save Riss, and Hia wonders how he's able to use it, thinking humans are supposed to be weak. But he suddenly hits her, so she becomes upset, telling him that she has achieved the pinnacle of magic, but he smashes her to the ground, telling her to shut up. She tries to fight back, but he breaks through her spell, and she can't believe this is happening, so she checks his stats, realizing his skills are infinite. He continues to beat her, as she notes that she doesn't stand a chance, and Riss recovers, wondering why she isn't injured, so Balarosa explains that Fio saved her. But she's surprised to see him destroying Hia, and she thinks he's amazing, knowing he's doing this because of her. But she recalls that he doesn't like fighting, and he's always been merciful, so she realizes that he's completely lost it. Hia starts fearing for her life, and she begs for mercy, but Fio can't forgive her for hurting Riss, so he decides to strangle her to death. But Riss tells him to stop, saying she likes him because he has a good heart, so she doesn't want to see him lose his kindness because of her. He decides to spare Hia, and he's happy to see that Riss is okay, because he thought she wasn't going to make it. We cut to the princess, as a group of mages teleport her to a forest, and she thanks them for their help, knowing their magic is still recovering. So she orders the knights to take care of them, saying she needs to look for the true hero, but their collars suddenly shatter, so she realizes that the Majin failed to grant the wish. Meanwhile, we see the guards at the royal treasury, ordering the hero to surrender, so Suya panics, thinking they're going to get executed. But a voice mentions that the Majin has failed, and a dark energy surrounds her, as it mentions that she will make a fine offering. The hero realizes that something's wrong, and she tells him that she's finally free, saying she's been sealed for centuries. She uses a spell to change her clothes, so the hero becomes confused, because he knows that Suya can't use magic. She wants to thank him for setting her free, so she uses another spell, saying she's going to give him the power he desires, as she introduces herself as Melenis. The hero transforms into a massive monster, and he helps her escape, planning to punish the royal family for sealing her. But she sees a teleportation circle, and she realizes that a member of the royal family left the castle, so she decides to search outside. Hia regains consciousness, wondering why Fio healed her, so he explains that he forgives her, because Riss was able to survive. Balarosa asks him what they should do to her, thinking she's too dangerous, and he thinks about sealing her in the royal treasury again. She wonders how he found out she was sealed, so he reveals that he used a spell to look into her memories, because he wanted to know why she attacked them. She can't believe he was able to do this, because she thought she was the only one who can use that spell. Riss suggests letting her join the group, thinking her powers could serve them well, but Fio reminds Riss that Hia almost killed her. But she forgives Hia, blaming herself for being weak, so Fio decides to accept Hia into the group, telling her she can join them if she doesn't hurt people again. She realizes that he's nothing like the other humans she met, because all of them were selfish, and she takes a liking to him, so she accepts him as her master. She looks forward to seeing what he can accomplish with his powers, and she remembers his eyes when he was angry, wondering why she feels so thrilled when she thinks about it. But Riss becomes jealous, asking her why she's blushing. Fio considers using the time reversal spell, because he wants to help the villagers by undoing the damage. But Hia warns him not to use it again, because it only moves time within a specified area, and it's possible for unforeseen accidents to occur if used on the entire village. She explains that humans aren't strong enough to use the spell, but Fio is an exception, because his stats are infinite. She adds that he's capable of using total acquisition magic, which allows him to learn the spells of the person who attacked him. So he realizes that he can use the time reversal spell, because he was able to acquire her abilities during their fight. But she tells him not to use it again, so he decides to use the restoration spell instead. Later that day, Fio returns home with Hia, who introduces herself to everyone, telling them she's going to be living with them. He explains that she didn't have a place to stay, so he decided to let her join them, and Balarosa tells her that her room is ready, but Baleri freaks out, thinking she's too dangerous to live with them. That evening, Balarosa talks to Fio, who tells her he's confused, because he doesn't know what to do with his powers. She tells him she isn't as strong as him, but she's also confused, because she doesn't know who she's supposed to be fighting. She explains that everything she learned in the kingdom is a lie, and she thanks him for helping her discover the truth. Fio joins Riss in the room, but she appears to be depressed, and she asks him if he's going to return to his world, thinking he's planning to use Majin magic to leave her. But he explains that he isn't going anywhere, because he wants to be with her, asking her to be his real wife. He tells her that he can't imagine living without her, and she admits that she also has feelings for him. They start making out, but they see Hia in the room, and she reveals that she was watching them the entire time, saying it's her duty to look after her master. So Theo becomes upset, telling her not to spy on his private life, but she tells him there's no need to hide anything, because mating is a natural behavior. Riss becomes angry, and she starts arguing with her, as the girls listen to them, realizing they're having a fight. Hia offers to make herself invisible while she watches them, but they refuse, thinking that would be even worse. We see the princess in the town, as she asks a merchant if he knows Theo, but he tells her he doesn't, so she leaves the shop, wondering where she can find him. We see Theo's group enjoying a meal, as Riss reveals that Hia was the one who prepared it. She offers to clean the house for everyone, but the girls realize she's doing everything, thinking they're useless. The next day, we see Blossom working on a field, because she wants to do her part for the household. Saib transforms into his bear form, and he helps Blossom with her task, as Valeri works in the stables, revealing that she wants to work as a coachman, but she's stuck looking after the horses. We learn that Bolano is from a family of royal magi, and Theo has been teaching her how to use basic spells, so she wants to use her magic to help everyone. She hears Blossom screaming, so she rushes outside, realizing that a magical beast is destroying the field. It charges at her, so she uses a barrier to defend herself, as Balarosa arrives, thinking about killing the beast. She reveals that she brought it there, but it suddenly went berserk, so Valeri rides it, and manages to calm it down. Everyone is impressed, because she was able to tame it, but she thinks about the land around them, and she considers buying it for the household. We see Theo walking around the town with Riss, and he sells his products to his business partner, who suggests putting gemstones on one of his goods. The merchant explains that gemstones are ridiculously expensive, because they're difficult to find, but Riss realizes that a shadow is covering the town, and the hero arrives with Molinis. So the villagers panic, fearing for their lives, as Theo realizes that everyone's in danger. The hero goes on a rampage, and Molinis sees the princess, using a spell to blow her guards away. Hia approaches Theo, telling him she sensed an evil presence, and she explains that the monster is a human, but he's being controlled by Molinis. We learn that Molinis was once the strongest mage in the kingdom, but she started using forbidden magic, so the past hero had to get rid of her. But her consciousness remained in the kingdom, so they had to seal her in the pedestal of the sword where Hia was sealed. She knows that Molinis was revived after she was released, because the humans used her powers to keep Molinis in check. She asks for permission to eliminate her, and Theo allows it, but he tells her to prioritize saving the lives of the villagers. Molinis is about to kill the princess, but there's suddenly an explosion as Hia arrives, and Molinis tells her not to interfere. But Hia explains that she wants to get rid of her, because she's disturbing her master, so she attacks Hia with a spell, but it doesn't work, as she explains that magic can't harm her. So the hero lunges at her, as Molinis uses fire magic, but she still manages to defend herself. So Molinis uses a forbidden spell, which strengthens the hero, causing him to become massive. The princess realizes he could destroy the town, and the ground shakes as he moves, but he suddenly shrinks, as the magic is dispelled. Theo arrives, revealing that he was the one who did it, and Hia begs him to let her finish the fight. Molinis can't believe that he was able to dispel her magic, and Hia uses a spell to get rid of her, trapping her soul in a pellet, and returning Suya and the hero to their original forms. She eats the pellet, as Theo wonders if she's going to be okay, so she explains that she has sealed Molinis in her psychic realm, saying she will keep her disciplined. They realize that the monster was the hero, thinking he's causing trouble for everyone, so they decide to leave him to the knights. The princess greets Theo, introducing herself as Elizabeth, and she thanks him for saving the kingdom, knowing they didn't treat him well, so she apologizes for their actions. She reveals that she dismissed the hero, because he's completely useless, and she went to the town to search for Theo, inviting him to become the true hero of the kingdom. But he refuses, saying he doesn't want to fight for humans, because he just wants to enjoy a peaceful life with Riss. They return to their home, and Valeri welcomes him back, saying she wants to expand that land, because she plans to breed magical beasts. Blossom explains that the lands can also be used to plant vegetables, which Valeri can deliver using her beasts. But Riss thinks the beasts will never obey humans, so she suggests using normal horses instead, but Valeri explains that horses are expensive, saying it's possible to tame magical beasts. Theo thinks it's a great idea, but he explains that lands cost a fortune and the girls can't afford it. So he offers to buy it for them, saying they can pay him back by managing the land and giving him a portion of their earnings, and they think this is a great idea. The girls start plowing the land, as Theo suggests growing vegetables that are difficult to find in the area. He explains that he can use his magic to help them, but Blossom refuses, saying she doesn't want to rely on him. Hia mentions that she can use a spell to help them, but Blossom explains that vegetables are only delicious if grown naturally, so she wants to nurture them without magic. But Bolano wants to see Hia's magic, revealing that she now works as an instructor in a magic academy, and she thanks Theo for teaching her the basics. She reveals that she's still learning new spells, and she realized that magic can be used to make life easier, so she begs Blossom to let Hia use her spell. Theo suggests using magic on a small portion of the field, so that they can tell if it affects the taste of the vegetables, and Blossom agrees to this. So Hia uses magic to help the plants grow, as Theo mentions that he wants to open his store in the future, and Riss promises to support him, saying she will call her friends to buy his goods. He reveals that he found a gemstone, and used it to craft a ring, saying he wants her to consider it as a wedding ring, and this makes her happy. We see the hero in a dungeon, wondering how he ended up there, and Suya thinks they're going to get executed. But he doesn't want to die there, so he's willing to do whatever it takes to escape. We see Ballarosa wearing a black dress, as Eulimenes congratulates her on her marriage. Gaul approaches her, telling her she's going to be his wife, and the demons promise to conquer the world as a wedding gift. She tells them not to do it, but Gaul tells her he loves her, and he's about to kiss her, but she wakes up from her dream, wondering why she keeps remembering him. The next day, Riss notices that Ballarosa looks unwell, so she explains that she had a nightmare, but Riss thinks she's in love, and she strongly denies this. But the girls hear this, thinking she's in love with Gaul, as they mention that he always visited them, because he wanted to see her. She explains that he wants to kill her, because she threatened him when they first met, but they think he likes her, saying she might be able to cross the race barrier like Theo and Riss. They ask Riss about Theo, asking her what she likes about him, so she explains that it's his naive personality, saying she feels comfortable when she's around him. He hears everything, so he becomes embarrassed, but they suddenly hear an alarm, as the system informs him that a demon has entered the town. So they think the villagers are in danger, and they decide to look around. We see Elizabeth with her advisors, who tell her that Theo gave them gold coins which were issued by the castle. She knows that the coins haven't been distributed to the public, and an advisor reminds her that they gave Benaza gold coins, thinking he could be disguising himself as Theo. So she realizes why he didn't want to fight for the kingdom, thinking they need to make it up to him. But a knight suddenly reports to her, telling her that the hero has escaped with Suya, so she tells her men to look for them. They start searching around the woods, where we see the hero hiding behind a bush, blaming Hia for making him look like a criminal. Suya tells him they're fugitives, but he explains that he didn't steal anything, so she reminds him that he took a bottomless bag while he was in the treasury. But he explains that he deserves it, thinking it's his reward for performing his duties as the hero. He checks what's inside it, but he realizes it doesn't contain gold, and he sees a treasure chest, so he opens it, thinking it contains an expensive item. But they see a magic shovel, and the knights hear them, so they search behind the bush, but they see nothing, thinking they were just imagining things. We learn that the hero was able to dig a hole in an instant, thinking the shovel is useful, but he wonders how they can make it back to the surface. At the Demon Lord's castle, we see Gaul with Eulimenes, who explains that they can't find Theo's group, so she believes they have left the kingdom. But he explains that this is impossible, because Theo can only teleport to the places he already visited, saying he has never left the kingdom after he was summoned. Eulimenes thinks Gaul should prioritize the invasion, saying they can take down the castle, but he tells her that Theo can use purification magic, so he thinks they need to find him. She explains that she's trying to suppress the demons who are doubting Gaul, and he thanks her for being loyal to him, but he explains that he doesn't want to sacrifice his people to secure victory. We see a demon named Fufin watching them, and she reports this to Gaul's brother Urigar, who becomes upset, because Gaul is trying to recruit a human into the demon army. He thinks it's the Demon Lord's duty to crush humans, wondering why Gaul is trying to befriend one of them. So he plans to steal the throne from his brother, saying he will destroy the kingdom after he takes over. We return to the town, as Theo wonders why nothing's happening, because he knows that a demon has entered the town. He sees a lady closing her store, saying her business isn't doing well, because the demons destroyed the trade routes for her products. Riss realizes that the war is affecting the villagers, and they're about to have lunch together, but Balarosa approaches them, saying she wants to treat them. Riss wonders why she's doing this, so she explains that her adventurer rank has gone up, thanking them for helping her improve. But Hia approaches them, saying a demon with incredible magic is approaching, so she prepares to fight. But Riss tells her to stop, and they see Gaul approaching, realizing he was the one who triggered the alarm. They decide to eat with him, as he tells Balarosa that he's happy to see her again, but she freaks out, realizing her dream was a premonition. Gaul explains that he likes human food, because it tastes better than the ones made by the demons, and he reveals that he went there to gather intel, saying he wants Theo to join him. But Balarosa becomes upset, thinking he's trying to ruin their lives, and he explains that demons are a threat to humans. Theo explains that he has been living peacefully with Riss, but Hia tells him about a toxic substance called Melicium, saying all demons have it, but not all of them can control it. It's harmful to humans, and those who can't control it leak small amounts of it wherever they go, so they can't be around humans. But Riss tells Theo that their pet demons can control Melicium, so there's no need for him to worry. Gaul adds that demons are violent by nature, and he decides to leave, saying they will meet again. Theo realizes that humans and demons can't coexist, and he hugs Riss, saying he needs to hold onto her for a moment. We return to Suya, as she climbs to the surface, but she ends up getting stuck, and the hero becomes distracted, so he falls back down. We see Theo and his friends having a meal together, and everyone likes it, realizing that Riss is getting better at cooking. She explains that her teacher Melino taught her how to cook, saying she saw her the other day. We see Riss visiting Melino, and she thanks her for her help, saying she was able to catch her husband's heart thanks to her guidance. Melino congratulates her, and decides to teach her how to cook family meals as a present. Riss explains that Melino also taught her how to cook meals for children, and the girls think it's useful, thinking she could have a baby with Theo. But someone suddenly knocks at their door, and Theo sees Elizabeth, so he tells her he isn't interested in becoming a hero. But she explains that she's there to apologize, calling him Banaza, and he can't believe she was able to discover his real identity. He invites her into the house, as Balarosa gives her tea, but she explains that she needs the others to leave, because she has something important to discuss with Theo. But Riss refuses to leave, and Theo supports her, saying he won't talk to Elizabeth unless Riss stays with him. So she agrees to this, and the others leave, as Elizabeth apologizes on behalf of the kingdom, knowing he was exiled to the forest. But he explains that her apology won't change anything, asking her what she wants from him. So she shows him a map, which displays the location of her troops, saying the purification spell is about to wear off, so the Dark Army will continue their invasion. But the kingdom's mages haven't recovered yet, saying the knights won't be able to protect the civilians from the demons, so she implores Theo to help them. But Riss tells her she's being selfish, reminding her that he doesn't want to get dragged into the war. Elizabeth explains that the king is about to wake up, and he's going to send the army to arrest Theo, thinking he's conspiring with the demons. But she mentions that she can save him, saying she can punish the king for disgracing the true hero, so that she can rule in his place. But she knows that he has protected the kingdom in the past, so she needs to prove that she's capable of commanding the army. Riss thinks she wants to use Theo, but he knows that she just wants to guarantee that he won't join the Dark Army. He asks her why she showed him the location of her troops, thinking it's a vital piece of information, so she explains that she trusts him, begging him to save the civilians. We see adventurers looking for the hero, because he's on the wanted list, and we see him hiding from them, as Suya tells him she's hungry. So he gives her food, and she eats it, as he wonders why she's still following him. But she thinks he's cool, knowing it would have been easier for him to escape without her, but he still takes care of her. A spider approaches them, and it shoots its web, restraining them in an instant, as Fufin arrives, saying she's going to use them as sacrifices. That evening, we see Theo in his room, telling Riss that he doesn't like fighting, but he doesn't want to see the civilians get slaughtered. He mentions that he wants everyone to be happy, and she promises to support him, saying she will help as much as she can. The next day, the Dark Army approaches, so everyone evacuates, but we see a girl in the woods, and a goblin is about to kill her. But Riss saves her, and Theo creates a barrier, telling the girl to escape. Riss wonders why he's doing this without compensation, so he explains that he doesn't want the demons to think the humans hired him. A demon wonders why she's helping the humans, and Theo explains that they're the protectors of the village, saying he will show no mercy if the demons attack the civilians. Riss explains that the barrier is unbreakable, but a Cyclops suddenly appears, and she warns Theo that he's from the most powerful tribe in the Dark Army. He insults the wolves, saying their top dog is useless, and Riss knows he's talking about her brother, so she becomes upset, and decides to take him on. But Theo tells her not to kill him, and she leaves the barrier, as the Cyclops attacks her, but she bites him, and he thinks she's weak, saying her attacks have no effect. But she explains that she's holding back, because Theo told her not to kill him. She jumps to the air, and uses a skill to swap places with him, but he tells her it won't be enough to defeat him, as he throws his weapon at her. But she swaps places with him again, and his weapon ends up hitting his head, as she uses the trees to stab him repeatedly. He tells his men to get rid of her, so they charge in, but Theo restrains them, telling them the fight is over. He heals the Cyclops, telling him to turn back, but he wonders who Theo is, so he explains that he's just a human who wants to get along with demons. He demonstrates his powers, telling them to back down, so they decide to retreat, and Riss tells him that their training paid off. We learn that she taught him how to intimidate demons, but she wonders if this is enough to stop them, knowing they will return when they're ordered to attack again, so she thinks he should have punished them. But he explains that he doesn't want the demons to hate humans, and a group of civilians appear, thanking him for saving the town. But they're worried about Riss, so Theo tells them she's his partner, and he mentions that the princess ordered him to save everyone, so they think she's amazing. We return to Elizabeth, as a knight reports to her, telling her that a mysterious adventurer is driving away the demons. The knight explains that he's accompanied by a wolf, and he's telling everyone that the princess sent him, so they're all grateful to her. She realizes that Theo is behind this, realizing he has done so much for the kingdom, so she needs to pay him back. We see Gaul observing Theo, realizing that Urigar is acting without orders. Grell tells him that Urigar has seized the throne, and we see him at the Demon Lord's castle, asking Futhan if the preparations are complete. So she explains that they have captured 2 humans, saying they can be used as offerings for the ritual. She knows that Gaul is powerful, and we see him making his way back to the castle, but she thinks he won't stand a chance against Urigar, because the ritual will give him the powers of the evil god. We see Eulimenas arguing with the elite members of the Dark Army, because they're looking forward to the battle between Gaul and Urigar. They think Gaul isn't capable of leading them, because he's been spending time away from the castle, so they think he isn't taking the invasion seriously. One of them, named Slape, believes Gaul is the only one worthy to be the Demon Lord, but he needs to display his strength, because everyone's starting to doubt him. They make their way to Urigar, telling him he still needs to defeat Gaul to claim the throne, but Futhan is certain that he's going to win, telling them not to interfere in the duel. Eulimenas calls her a traitor, and she tries to attack Urigar, but her claws end up breaking, and he easily blows her away. Futhan is about to finish her off, but Grell suddenly arrives, taking her away, as Gaul makes his entrance. Urigar challenges him to a duel, but he thinks it's pointless, so Urigar explains that his minions think he isn't worthy to be the Demon Lord, because he keeps hanging out with the humans, so they think he has betrayed them. He asks the elite demons if they agree with Urigar's methods, because Urigar ordered the army to attack the kingdom without his permission. But they remain silent, so he activates his demon ring, and everyone thinks he's going to fight for the throne. But he suddenly removes his ring, and he gives it to Urigar, saying he no longer wants to be the Demon Lord, because his minions aren't happy with him. But Urigar thinks he's mocking him, telling him to fight like a man, so Gaul kicks him away, and he ends up falling down the cliff. Gaul explains that he did it for Eulimenas, and he leaves the castle, as the hero thinks about escaping with Suya. After some time, Gaul and Eulimenas visit Theo, and they explain their situation, wondering if they can stay in his house, because they're broke and they have nowhere else to go. He explains that he still needs to talk to the others, but at that moment, Balarosa joins them, and she can't believe Gaul is with them, so she becomes scared, as Theo asks for her opinion. The girls gather in the room as Gaul tells them about his situation, saying he's no longer the demon lord and he can't stay in the demon territory. He explains that Theo is his only friend in the kingdom, so he decided to ask for his help. He promises not to put them in danger, saying he's not their enemy, but Riss can't believe he's broke, so Eulimenes explains that he gave all of his money to the soldiers who were loyal to him, because they also left the Dark Army when he resigned. Gaul thinks they deserved it, but Eulimenes thinks he's naive, saying that this was why the demons stopped believing in him. But he explains that he took the throne from his father because he didn't agree with his methods, so he felt compelled to resign when the other demons stopped supporting him. Theo asks the girls if Gaul can stay with them, and they think it's okay, but Balarosa reminds them that he used to be the demon lord. But Riss tells her he's homeless, and Saib wants her to accept him, so she ends up agreeing to let him stay. After some time, we see Gaul with Theo, who tells him about his business, saying he's crafting equipment for adventurers. Gaul realizes that one of his shields was made with dragon scales, and he knows that it belonged to his minions, but he doesn't blame Theo, knowing they were the ones who attacked him. Gaul knows it's enchanted with several layers of magic, so Theo explains that it's because of the dragon scales, saying it's capable of storing magical power. Gaul finds it interesting, but Theo mentions that it's only for adventurers, as Eulimenes observes them, wondering how her master can be so friendly with humans, and she mentions he isn't as lively when interacting with the demons. That evening, we see the girls sleeping, but Balarosa is still awake, so Riss gives her tea, knowing she can't fall asleep, and Theo asks her what's bothering her, knowing she's having a hard time accepting Gaul. He explains that he's happy with their current lifestyle because they're all enjoying their lives, and they already have everything they need. He mentions that they all live in harmony, but she thinks she doesn't belong in the house because she doesn't have anything to offer, and she's having a hard time accepting demons. She reveals that she saw Knight suffering because of them, so she doesn't feel comfortable hanging out with the former demon lord. But Theo explains that it's natural for humans to hate demons, and he thinks Gaul isn't in trouble, and he's probably just monitoring their movements, because he knows that they're a threat to both humans and demons. But Theo doesn't care, because they have nothing to hide, and he advises Balarosa to talk about her feelings, saying she doesn't need to force herself to get along with Gaul. Riss reminds her that she was also in the Dark Army, and she tried to kill her, so she wonders why Balarosa is okay with her. So Balarosa explains that she's always acting silly, so it's hard to see her as a threat. She tells Balarosa that she isn't useless, reminding her that she taught her how to bake, and they try the cookies Riss made, as Theo realizes that it tastes delicious. The next day, Balarosa talks to Gaul and Eulimenes, threatening to destroy them if they attack humans, and Gaul realizes she's keeping an eye on them. He tries to shake her hand, but she refuses, saying she doesn't trust them yet, and she goes hunting with Saib. Meanwhile, we see that the hero was able to escape with Suya, and they think about returning to the town so that they can sell the gems they stole from the treasury. But Suya reminds the hero that he's a wanted man, so he explains that he plans to leave the kingdom after he sells everything. We see Urigar complaining, because the Dark Army is losing, and Futhan explains that they're struggling to get past the traps planted by the humans. But he becomes upset, saying this shouldn't be a problem for the Dark Army, and he suggests breaking through them with their sheer numbers. But the elite demons think he's a fool, because he doesn't have a strategy, thinking Gaul is better than him. But Futhan tells them not to worry, because she has a plan, and she suggests going on an outing to boost their morale. At the village, Riss wins a trip to the hot springs, and the shopkeeper tells her she can take her family with her. So Riss decides to travel with everyone, but she isn't happy because she wanted to be alone with Theo, but he tells her to cheer up, saying they should use this chance to get to know Gaul. The girls discuss that there are 7 hot springs in the area, and one of them is said to improve fertility, so Riss decides to go there because she wants to have a baby with Theo. They reach an inn, and the attendants welcome them inside, as Riss asks one of them about the spring she's looking for. So the attendant explains that it's outside, and she gives her a guide, as she wishes her the best of luck. The girls make their way to the dressing room, but Blossom bumps into a strange man, who turns out to be Urigar, but Futhan calms him down, and tells Blossom to go ahead. Urigar wonders why Futhan let Blossom go, seeing her as a lesser being. So Futhan reminds him that they're there to boost morale, and she advises him to relax. We see the elite demons as they prepare to enter the hot springs, and Futhan tells them to wear a necklace, saying it will suppress their malicium. Gaul and the others see them, knowing they're from the Dark Army, so Riss tells them to keep hidden, because the demons will recognize them, and she's afraid that they're going to ruin the trip. The girls enter their room, as Blossom suggests enjoying their trip to the fullest, so they discuss what they want to do next, and Riss invites Fio to bathe with her. Hia wants to join them, but she tells her not to interrupt them, thinking this is her chance to have a baby with him. So Hia stays behind, and she enters her inner world, where she sees Molinis, revealing that she captured her soul. She reveals that she wants to practice, and she restrains Molinis, saying she wants to try what Riss did with Fio, but Molinis reminds her that they're both women, so this shouldn't be possible. But Hia reveals that she can change her gender, and she tells Molinis that she's her type, but she becomes angry, saying it will never work. Hia suddenly wakes up, realizing that she got kicked out of her inner world, because her partner didn't accept her, so she wonders how she can get Molinis to like her. Riss and Fio find the hot spring she's looking for, and she tells him to pamper her after they take a bath. Fio starts relaxing, and he talks to Riss, telling her that they should plan another trip, because they still haven't done their honeymoon. She explains that she was disappointed, because she wanted to bathe with him, so that they could have a child. But he gets embarrassed and decides to head back. Meanwhile, Valeri is about to enter a room, when Hia asks her why she's interested in that place, because it seems to be about mating. Hia explains that she wants to learn how to get her partner to accept her, and she decides to go along with Valeri. We see the other girls hanging out, and they're all having a good time, as Blossom realizes that Ballarosa is staring at Gaul, so she asks her if she likes him. But she explains that she's just keeping an eye on him, and he tells her she looks amazing in her dress, but Luminous tells him to stop flirting with her. We cut to Urigar and his minions, as he complains about the food, thinking it's disgusting. He tells them to entertain him, so Futhan starts dancing, but he thinks she's boring, so two demons start fighting, but one of them drops his necklace. We see the hero arriving, thinking they escaped the demons, and he shows Suya the gem he stole from their treasury. But it suddenly absorbs Malicium, as the demons continue fighting, and we see that the battle has become intense, and Futhan wonders what they're doing. Suya recognizes her, knowing she was the one who captured them, and the gem suddenly merges with the hero, transforming him into a massive dark creature. Ballarosa asks Luminous if she wants Gaul to become the demon lord again, and she confirms this, thinking he's the only one capable of leading the Dark Army. Ballarosa knows that she left the Dark Army just to follow him, and she thinks it's because she's in love with him. But they suddenly see the hero attacking the inn, as everyone panics, thinking they're going to die. But the building suddenly stops collapsing, and we see Fio using a spell to save them, as he tells Riss to investigate what's happening. The others see this, knowing Fio saved everyone, and Gaul explains that the dark creature is concentrated Malicium, and Luminous thinks Urigar must be the one behind it. She uses her skill to investigate, and she realizes that the dark creature has a gem which absorbs Malicium, revealing that it strengthens demons, but humans go berserk if they try to use it. The girls decide to save everyone at the inn, saying they want to do their part, because Fio is using his powers for the greater good, so they don't want him to fight alone. But Luminous thinks they're idiots, thinking they won't be able to do anything, because they're too weak, but Gaul decides to help them, asking her if she wants to join him. She notes that this is the first time he asked for her opinion, so she becomes flustered, saying he has failed as a demon lord, because he's trying to save humans. But he explains that he's doing this to protect their vacation, and he teleports to the hero, but the demons see him, and Urigar immediately confronts him, challenging him to a fight. The girls watch from down below, and Ballarosa decides to tell Fio what's going on. Urigar takes control of the Malicium, and he uses it to attack Gaul. He starts controlling the hero, but Gaul is still able to defend himself. Ballarosa returns to Fio, and she tells him how Urigar appeared. But he thinks that since Gaul is dealing with it, he doesn't need to worry, and decides to focus on protecting the building. Gaul notes how Urigar's ability to control Malicium is troublesome to deal with, and they see the hero in the monster's gem. Riss decides to teach him a lesson for interrupting her trip, so she uses teleportation to get close, and punches him in the face. The gem shatters, and Suya falls, but Gaul catches her with his magic, remembering his promise to not harm any humans. Gaul tells Urigar to back down, but he refuses and notes how it's in their nature to do whatever they want as demons. They continue their fight, but Gaul is easily able to dodge his attacks. Meanwhile, Eulimenes asks the other demons what they're doing there, but they say they're just there for the hot spring and have no intention to fight. Gaul blocks Urigar's attacks, and he uses reflection magic to retaliate. But Urigar notes that he needs to get hit to reflect the attacks, so he decides to use his full strength. He attacks with even more power, telling Gaul he has gotten weaker because of his pacifism. He smashes his head, preparing to finish him off, but Gaul suddenly grabs him and uses a technique that drains all of his power. He wonders what's going on, so Gaul tells him he temporarily shut down his Melisium, which is the source of a demon's power. Urigar can't believe there's such a technique, so Gaul notes how he perfected it to defeat the previous demon lord, but it was originally created by the humans, so if they attack the humans too recklessly, they might be the ones to get destroyed. The hot spring owner decides to intervene, taking out her talismans, and her employees join her. They fire beams of light, and Urigar is caught and suddenly restrained. We see that the other demons are also restrained, and the owner reveals that their robes are enchanted in case of an emergency. She tells them they have caused enough trouble, and she sends them all away. We see Riss continuing to beat the hero, but she claims she's just getting the Melisium out of his body. After that, Theo uses his time magic to restore the building, and everyone helps out to get everything back in good condition. We see the hero being chased away, so he uses his shovel to escape, but ends up hitting a hot spring. The owner thanks them all for their help, and Theo is just glad everyone is okay. They all go back to enjoying the hot spring, and we see Theo together with Gaul. He admits he always found Theo interesting, because he doesn't use his tremendous power for himself, but for the peace between humans and demons. Theo thinks it's not enough to rely on magic, so Gaul wonders how they can achieve peace. Theo isn't sure, but he thinks that by finding friends he can rely on, he will do what he can with their help, so Gaul promises to help him as a friend. Everyone has dinner together, and Riss gets a special dish that the attendant tells her will give her more energy for her night. Eulimenes enjoys the fish, and Balarosa thanks Gaul for what he did to protect them. They all continue to enjoy themselves, and at the end of the night, Theo and Riss finally get a chance to be alone. He wonders how she sees humans now, so she mentions she isn't sure, but thinks they aren't her enemies anymore, and she has actually grown to like them. She wonders why he's asking, so he notes how he thinks that the conflict between humans and demons will become more intense, so he wants to keep defending the towns and preventing casualties. He asks for her help, telling her to keep him in check, because he knows he'll be on the right path if she's by his side. She promises to follow him wherever he goes, reminding him that she's his wife, and she wants the world to be safe for their children. They spend the night together, and the next day, Riss seems to be in a great mood. The girls realize what happened, and Hia is disappointed she wasn't able to watch. They all head back, and after some time, we see that the hero is still wanted, but he swears he will make his return. Everyone does their part for the house, and Theo thinks about how he came to the world alone, but he's glad that he was summoned there, because he was able to make so many friends, and he was able to meet Riss. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.